Hey guys, we'll get started in just a few minutes. AR, why don't you talk? And I'm looking at the audio bars this time rather than just
Oh,
assuming everything. Ah,
that's a good idea.
there
Make
you go.
sure that everything's actually functioning.
Well,
How about that?
that is the one flaw with the setup that I've put together for the show is we have very few actual issues unless there's an internet issue. So
Mhm.
it's created the bad habit of, oh, everything actually works. So I'm not staring at everything like I might have used to.
That's a bold statement. It's like we work so smoothly, we don't actually need a sound check.
To be fair, we don't really do a sound check anymore. This is
Like,
mostly
are
just
you
to,
alive?
this is mostly just to confirm they can hear us and the levels where I expect them to be, which is technically a sound check, but
That
it's
is
more
technically a
it
sound check, yes.
it's more technically pre-show bonus content. Dev, talk a little bit more so they can hear you.
I really, really, really do not want to be doing inventory from 2 a.m. to 11 a.m. I really don't.
See, that's the quality pre-show bonus content that they came here early for.
Yes, Dev bitching about retail.
To be fair,
Yep.
they missed in the private chat room us talking about the Amico again.
Now
You know,
Well, more
stop
like
that
you
because
talking about
it's
the
at some
Amico and
point
me eating crab and tortellini.
I had my calzone well before the podcast started.
I'm going to
I
eat
had the
soup.
speed nap.
I'm going to eat soup after the podcast because I may or may not have food poisoning. We'll find
Soup?
out.
Soup?
Okay, let's see. Okay, you guys ready to go?
Yes.
Welcome to the WtW podcast. We're here to entertain and inform, but while talking about Digimon, I'm Mark, run with the will.
I'm AR Pulver, and for one more week, Digimon System Restore.
DevQ and I am just dead.
Oh, are you actually going to do episode 1 of Ghost Game?
No, I'm writing I'll have to do like an ending recap of
Okay.
the reboot.
So what you're saying is you love the reboot so much that you're going to do a recap and then just be done right as the new show starts.
No, if you notice my history from previous seasons, I do like a little bit of a recap in between series anytime an ending changes. You notice after the first one I stopped doing that
You
for
know,
the
I
reboot.
was actually thinking about this earlier. When you do your recap, I want to know the grades you gave for each episode because if I recall, I believe you've actually rated them quite positively considering how more and more upset you've gotten as the show has gone on.
Yeah, it's one of those weird things where when I grade live, I tend to be a lot nicer
And
about
then
it.
you get
I notice
angry
this a
as
lot with
time goes on. Yeah.
yeah, and then as the series goes on, it's like, oh, that whole thing that I was optimistic that they were setting up, they weren't actually setting up. That happened a lot with
No, but
Cross Wars and Try.
I don't even mean in the setup. There's been times when I know there's episodes you have not liked and you've had good reasons not to like them, and then I'll look at the thing and it'll be like, this is one of the worst episodes Digimon has ever had. It gets a C plus.
C plus is still is kind of bad considering I very few episodes of like Savers
No,
or App
but that's
well
what I mean. A
Atlons did,
C
but
plus is still technically above average.
I mean, that's a go home and get the belt grade.
yeah, it is for me too. Like generally the D grades are for your typical crap hunters episode, and Adventure never got that low.
That's not a bad thing though. So
No, no.
the last episode.
People don't realize how bad Digimon episodes
Well,
can
and here's the
be.
thing, and we've talked about that before.
We
It
do.
is not it is not a high tier classy show. We enjoy it for what it is, which is kids entertainment.
Yeah. So there's a lot of episodes in Digimon's history that drags the curve down a bit.
And what's funny is the stupid ones tend to be the highest ranked, I think. Not specifically from you, but I mean like if there's a good stupid episode of Digimon, it's almost universally loved. Like the
Because that's
Leomon
what we're
episode
here
in
for.
The,
Tamers.
the Burgermon episode of
Yeah.
Frontier. That's the go-to.
Yeah. But like, if an episode's stupid, everyone loves it because you can only be so negative about a comedy episode.
Oh, I can be plenty negative
Oh,
about a
I know
comedy
you can,
episode,
but you know what
but
I mean, though.
He's old and grumpy, so he definitely can.
We're all kind of old and grumpy.
I was a lot
That
younger when I was reviewing Adventure and
yeah.
early seasons.
Now, I mean, thank God they hid the title from us until last week, so that we didn't know the title would be the end of the adventure. We could have never guessed that one.
I know.
Because that was the one in the guide where they're like, oh, it's to be announced. We're not giving the title for now. And people kept going, what could it mean? It means they didn't
This
give us the
means
title that we. That's. I mean, here's the thing. I actually like the title, honestly, but it's not like it's
it's
a wild or crazy title.
it describes what's happening.
Yeah,
It's like it's the last episode, motherfucker.
yeah, yeah. And I haven't done it in a while, actually, sitting through the opening when I'm watching the show. Because,
Same.
yes, I actually did this time. It's like, man, it really is just a fun way to start an episode. I don't want to do it every week, but it was
If
enjoyable to
they
sit through it
switched,
again.
if it wasn't the same opening
So
for
I don't.
67
So here's the
episodes.
thing. I don't even need a new
Yeah.
song. It feels like it's an opening that's designed to evolve.
Yeah.
And
And
But
that's
also
what annoys me because it from the moment I saw the video of that intro, I went, this is one that's designed to add characters as they show up or over time, or at least get one or two swaps of stuff.
remember when, like, at the very beginning when some people were suggesting, hey, maybe they'll have like a Sora-centric opening at some
Oh
point.
no,
Just
centric, absolutely not. I think we all kind of agreed on that, but like evolving to add people, I
yeah, no, it's
honestly
all
thought
Tai
it was gonna
Chi.
happen.
It's
I
all
mean,
Tai
I mean,
Chi.
I,
It
I mean,
always
here's
was.
the thing. They were honest.
They
yeah,
told us who we were
You
from the very
start you
beginning.
start the opening. It's Taichi and Agumon. You occasionally see someone else, and then it's Taichi and Agumon again. They were honest. Yeah. So I still like the opening and starting off with Omegamon. And I have to be honest,
fuck yeah.
May tricked me. May, I didn't watch their video, but May put up that video um before the episode aired, like Omegamon doesn't matter anymore. And I'm like, I know what you're doing, May. Then tomorrow you're gonna put up why Omegamon still matters, and they did not do that. So instead, it was just clickbait. So bad
Yeah, we were
May.
talking about that. May's been trying to do a little more clickbait to get the
Yeah,
algorithm on their side.
yeah. The funny part is I got messages from multiple people that we all know going, "What the hell is this?"
Gotta play the game. I don't blame them.
Nope. But yeah, that's probably
Gotta
not
get that ad revenue.
that's probably not the one to do to gain an audience you want to keep, though. The
I
the
don't
a
know. The fact that that they still don't really care for the show isn't gonna endear themselves to that audience either.
true, I guess.
Might as well get the one click from them before they block you forever.
And hey, look, Negamon has evolved as we saw, and we get to see the final version, Abatomon Core, and it's Omegamon but black and red.
It's Shadow
It's
Megamon.
weird. I don't dislike it. The problem is we have two evil Omegamons, which I didn't want to see, and I'm happy we didn't. But it feels kind of weird because
It
why?
felt really Apocalypse-ish to me.
It's
Yes, although it oddly, and this is where AR is both gonna hate that I'm right about it, and also like still kind of disagree because it sounds horrible to say. It's a Pokemon, but with setup throughout the series.
mm,
Like it's a Pokemon, but actually connected to
mm,
the story of the show.
I mean, it's connected better than
No,
Apocalypse
but
was.
but that's but
I'll
that's what I mean.
acknowledge
That's what
that.
I mean. That's what I mean, though.
Yeah.
So
It
and
is weird though that it's, this spends 2 episodes as this abomination of tentacles and eyes, and then for its final form decides to be edits,
To be fair,
super
they had
ultimate
to
final form, and it's like it's gonna be the Shadow
they had to do
Megamon.
that though. They had to
Well,
do
I
that.
kind
I
of
know
like
they
the
had.
cape because it
And
made me think of like Sound Birdmon's wings.
so here's why they had to do it though. They had to upset
Oh.
the people who were holding up the Digivice as the Bible of the show.
I thought you were gonna say they needed it for all the cool action set pieces that came later.
No, because you could easily just have Omegamon just slashing at a dude. Like you don't actually.
But it wasn't a dude before. It was just this
No,
weird
but I
funky
mean,
eyeball
when
thing.
I say dude, I mean generic thing. You could have had him fighting the whale.
No, but I mean, they had this slick one-on-one fight between two
No,
very similar looking things, and
you're not
they get
wrong.
all the
You're not
yeah,
wrong
that
though. Yeah, but
which
they
was
still could have
worth
done it.
it. Like it was a good fight.
Yeah,
Like I just think that they didn't really consider Negamon's the psychology of Negamon
I don't know.
doing all that.
It's better than fighting Pac-Man at the end, which a lot of people assumed was what was going to happen.
It probably is. It's just poorly considered.
But yeah, so
Still
we
fucking
get
badass looking.
You
yeah,
gotta bend it a little bit
it
to give the people what they want.
it did work. I also kind of like he didn't talk as much as we kind of have, which was kind of weird. You kind of like Devimon pontificated not as much as we wanted, but you kind of miss having the wordy villains when they don't show up. You know what I mean? As
I
much
That's
as
because
that
guess I
we're
thought
all
it talked
campy as
about
fuck.
it talked about right for me. Like it was just
yeah,
sort of
I don't know.
droning on in
I
its madness by that
I
point.
think I kind of missed like the talky villains overall because we had him, which he
We were
talked a
way
little bit.
past the point of we were way past the point of getting talky
I
villains
know
though.
Millenniumon didn't say anything, which he's not a good character in anything, so it made sense.
Sad
Devimon
little bitch.
Devimon talked more after he died than he did when he was the villain, which is funny.
I don't think that's true, but I like that
It
exaggeration.
comes close though. Like
It sure it
when
I
you think
think
it feels right, even if it's wrong. It feels true.
I think it's more a case of Devimon just doesn't know when to shut up, including after he's dead.
To be
I thought
fair,
he talked.
to be
I thought he
fair,
talked plenty when he was alive.
I
to
mean,
be fair,
with literally
We
like an
found,
angel and a devil on his shoulder.
yeah, we found we found him interesting for a reason.
to be fair, he's married to Mimi, so he has to balance that. And then we get that orchestral "Break the Chain," which that's a really good orchestral
Oh,
song.
hell
I
yes!
want the full version
Um, and
immediately.
then to
That's my
get
new
even
ringtone
and
if
then
it
to
ever
get
comes out.
and then the single biggest surprise to me was when we started getting Omegamon attacks that I'm pretty sure we've never seen before. I don't even think some of these have ever even been like alluded to it as existing. Am I?
No, it's just like slashy and pew pew pew.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
normally that's what kills the enemy.
But
Yeah,
what's
it's very
funny, like
effective.
the funny one is I believe the only time we've ever seen the shield actually be used, I think it was an All-Star Rumble.
I
I
mean,
think
to be fair, most of the time Omegamon's battles are kind of curb stomps,
no,
and
no,
nothing
I know,
usually has the
no, I know,
audacity to attack it.
but that's
In
what, but it's like, oh shit, it's actually using the shield. It's like I'm pretty sure the only time that has ever existed actually is an All-Star Rumble, and I started
yeah,
laughing.
yeah, but in All-Star
I
Rumble,
try
you
to
can expect
pretend
the
that
bad guys to
entire thing doesn't
actually
exist.
Yeah,
attack Omegamon.
yeah, and the episode,
I expect you to die.
the episode also
Mhm.
does a good job of showing why it had to be Omegamon in the end. Like as much as I love the new forms at the end of Kazuna or even Merciful Mode, just seeing Omegamon go to town for half an episode in a way that we kind of haven't was actually kind like thrilling, to be honest, to me at least. I was
Yeah,
super
usually
happy.
shows up,
Mm,
like cape waves in the wind, and then just like pew, done.
Like we actually got like that
yeah,
action pose of him leaning over. Like it's weird because you don't actually think of him as being a character who like poses, like moving around. I mean, you kind of think of him standing there, and then maybe he'll dash, and then maybe he'll aim the sword up so they can make a statue or toy out of it. You don't actually think
that's
of him
how
as a character who moves.
It's amazing that that's how low our standards are, that we are applauding the series for making Omegamon break a sweat.
Oh, come on. Nah, come on. You can't be cynical with something fun like this. You can be cynical about the series, not this episode. I refute
No,
that.
the episode was good.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
yeah.
poke holes in everything you
Then
suggest because
then we got then of course we got the nice dash attack, but I actually like the sword bite. Where he says,
Yes.
oh,
yeah,
the sword bite was great.
yeah,
That was
It's
fantastic.
that
like
was
I
great.
it's like
figured it would
haha,
be
they
some.
pulled Digimon.
Yeah, I figured it would be something like that. It's like
But
you
it
just
worked
kind of know
so
that there's
well.
no way that just a basic transcendent
Yeah,
sword was going to do that. So
I know, but it worked
that was
so
the
well.
counter. That was the counter we wanted and deserved.
Yeah, and then hey, look, the crest showed up. Hooray! And then I this is the moment where even AR I don't think can properly show cynicism because it was just so fucking good. Was when the new version of Break the Chain starts up,
Oh yeah.
I literally screamed, "Fuck yes, Alter
and
S."
not only do they do Alter S, they do the double arms where they have him with both swords, then both cannons.
God, it looked so fucking badass.
I know. And then before we move on from to Alter S himself, the interesting thing about Break the Chain was Takeyoshi Tanimoto talked about it on Twitter a bit. So there's some interesting details here. One, nothing from the old version was reused.
Oh
Everything,
nice.
Oh,
everything from him was newly recorded. The new arrangement was from the composer who did Cross Wars, and was in fact the composer for We Are Crossheart,
Weird crossheart. Sure.
which they use part of the orchestral in there, which is why we all recognized it as We Are Crossheart
Okay.
last time. That's why I
Okay.
recognize it because it's him. Um,
Yeah.
okay. So we weren't going crazy.
no, we
I
weren't.
mean,
Yeah.
we
It is
already
that
are, but
composer. But then he also pointed out, well, there'll be more to talk about for adventure music later. Is basically
That's
what he left off with,
promising.
which tells
Promising.
me that we're probably getting a Break the Chain CD that will have the normal one, which was in Volume 2. We'll
Mm-hmm.
we'll have the new one. We'll probably have the karaoke of both, which I'm actually curious to go back and check 66. I'm not sure if that was a unique version of Break the Chain or if that is just the like clean no lyric version of the new one. I'm not
I
quite sure to be. I
feel
think it's
like
different.
that's.
I
Yeah, I
think
think
it's
it's
different a
different.
bit, but I think like it's
Yeah.
there. So I feel like we're definitely
If
getting some sort of CD.
if it was just a karaoke version or an a karaoke version, I think it would be missing something, and we wouldn't be so hyping over
Yeah,
it.
yeah. And I'm gonna go ahead and guess, just wild guess that can't possibly be right. The CD's probably gonna have Alter S on it. Doesn't
You
that feel?
think?
you know what? I really want a poster to come with it.
And Amazon, if you pre-order from Amazon, you can get one of those big cover sheets that they like doing for exclusives. Just a wild guess. So the evolution to Alter S, I mean, it looked nice. Alter S had his own unique design where they didn't just kind of copy and paste the artwork, which was nice. It was a bit more anime Omegamon than the Alter S design most people are used to. I think. I think
Whatever
the
it was, it looked
oh no, it
fantastic.
looked great. Am I wrong, or did they kind of like give him more of an upper body, like the shoulders
I
and
was
stuff?
looking at
Felt
the pew views.
pew pew pew. But yeah, the smoke reveal worked really well. We get a bit of struggle, and he he kind
Alter
of
S was basically the
yeah,
traditional Omegamon role
yeah.
of just
Then we
stand
get
there and
yeah,
clobber the bad guy.
and then he clobbers him. And I know AR liked the same part that I did after he clobbers him, as he's kind of going, well, that's it, nothing, blah blah blah. And Omegamon kind of points out that kind of no, everyone kind of gets that unlimited potential to maybe
Yeah,
change.
it's the first time that I think it's the first time that a series actually said that. Like a villain, yeah, like villains. The rules are you
Yeah.
die, you get reborn, so you're gonna get reborn whether you like that or not.
And you
So
get your
you
own
can make your own
potential to
choices from
change.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, but if you start shit again, meet me in the back of a Denny's
Yeah.
at 3 a.m. and I'll beat the
And
shit out of you.
honestly, the way the series is set up, it does kind of suggest that something's going to come along to stir shit up, and
Yeah.
something's going to come along to stop it, because that's just the cyclical nature of the world. And
And then
screw you if you try to stop that.
because I actually like that, the one odd thing about the show is how much it will do random lore shit for no reason. Is everyone goes, oh well, Ultra S is stronger than Omegamon, and then Omegamon does something at the
They're
end
the same.
that really makes that even puts that into question, even if you want to say Ultra S is stronger, which is all recover. That was a neat little touch, where Omegamon does one more strike, the sword changes the text on it to a move that actually heals everything. And I'm 99. That is a new move, right? That
I'm
didn't exist
pretty
before.
positive it is.
At the very least, they've never done anything in a game or an anime showing the sword change. At the very least,
No, they've never bothered with that.
yeah.
We shouldn't be so shocked that they do new things, though.
No, here's the thing: you don't need to do new things with Omegamon, because if you do, the new thing was showing Ultra S.
Yeah,
You
and
didn't
I
have
mean, for the sake of the series, no, they should be
no,
doing new
no,
things.
but that's what I mean. They didn't have to do, oh, the weird sword recovery. If they had just had everything go back to normal with a move, none of us would question that. They did the shield. The missiles coming out of Metal Grumon's head were great. It just felt weird and kind of different to actually have Omegamon do stuff, and I liked it.
I actually really liked Omegamon firing backwards through his cape to hit
Yes, that was great. That was actually really good, and I think a lot of people seem to miss what happened there, because I saw a lot of people going, how did he get hurt with the cape? I think people missed what happened there, where he posed and he put the cannon under his arm and shot back. That was so good. And weirdly, it's only half over at that point.
That's not weird at all, actually, if you look at most Digimon
No,
finales.
structurally, of course not. But what I mean is that felt like a very dense fight. Like when it hit the commercial break, I'm like, shit, we're only half over.
That's also not unusual for
No,
Digimon
it's not.
finales. Like
It's
they
not.
they
But it,
cram a lot of action into the
yeah,
first half of the episode. That's actually why I was kind of disappointed with the original series Apocalypse fight. Like it was a lot. It was kind of static compared to some of
yeah.
the fights we got later on in future series. And I'd put this one up there as well as an example.
And then I would say we all saw this coming, but they actually showed bits of it to us, which is binary code, the Hosada net visuals. Everyone gets their time to talk.
And say nothing. But
Okay,
they're sweet
yeah,
moments, so.
that's the rule of how that kind of talk works. We got,
Again, good writers will be able to inject some personality into those moments.
I mean, they didn't in any other number of Digimon shows at the end. I don't know why you would expect it here.
Uh, I'd push back on that, but anyway.
I could sleep through the Savers finale.
Saber's finale is not a great example, but I would
I
say
will
that definitely,
continually cry like a bitch at the Tamers one.
No,
yeah,
but
Tamers
here's the
and
thing.
Adventure for
Here's the thing.
sure.
The Tamers one is great, except for two issues. The first is, of course, is that then they did more, and you kind of just go ugh. That
Well,
doesn't
yeah.
change the Tamers finale itself. The one flaw of the Tamers finale is it's kind of just the adventure ending. It's
I
kind of just that with a bit of a writing twist difference.
kind of, but they
Like here's
still
the thing.
executed it very
I
well.
think no, that's the thing. I would actually say executed perfectly if I'm being honest. But it
Hmm.
does diminish it a bit that they kind of already did that. That's the one thing I'd say about that. Um, we get a bunch of voice cameos. We get pans over various characters we saw before.
That was
Val,
fun.
they we kind of really don't know. So I guess Valdermon's not dead.
I
I'm pretty sure he was dead.
It's been so long that I don't remember. Maybe Velderman died between episode 5 and this one.
Well, no. What I mean is Valdermon's like talking about how they won at one point.
Yeah, it's sort of the ghost of Velderman. I think it
Yeah.
was the ghost of
Okay.
Velderman
Close enough.
originally, so.
Yeah, it was
True.
definitely a guess. It's like, oh yeah, we all fucking
Yeah.
died during the Great War.
Yeah. all the cute and fun stuff
Leomon
of the
somehow
talking.
lived.
I like that there were 3 Digimon that were petrified under flower petals. That's kind of impressive, and a very
Yeah,
specific way to go out.
yeah. And I guess Petalgermon got reborn. I guess
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
we saw
I counted
Arbormon.
that as I counted that as one of them. I mean, we saw Ranamon too.
Yeah.
Little
Um,
couple little frontier cameos as a treat.
Wisemon telling the story. Commandomon resting.
Wisemon
Lopmon.
telling
Commander
the
was the
story
best boy.
was really a nice
It,
touch.
it
Just the
was.
idea that
He
because
cares,
the
I
holy
guess.
because the story of the Holy War kind of perpetuated and informed so much of this series, and now it's sort of continuing again that cyclical nature of
Yeah,
now this story is going to inform future conflicts.
yeah. And I still like ignoring the Leomon jokes because, man, I know we've talked about it before, but man, those jokes were boring and repetitive, even more so than normal.
It
Like
was
how,
getting to that point,
like,
Because
yeah.
I
like,
kept expecting him to drop
no,
dead.
what I mean is how many fucking times can the exact same joke be used of "bitch, I lived"? Jesus fucking Christ! Could no one think of any other line to use other than that for artwork?
Well, they
Uh,
could have used something like, well, what came to mind immediately for me is the squirrel from Ice Age.
Ha!
that would have been funny, and no one's used that. That would have been funnier. And then actually like how Leomon kind of points out it's not just heroic adventures; they're his friends. I like that little touch there. They kind of allude to the worlds being more directly connected, which is kind of like the biggest inverse we've ever seen at the end of a show, I think.
A little bit.
I,
Yeah.
um, we get the nice little Digi-Egg cracking open, which we know who that is.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they continue on with the pans, the Mimi statue, the burgers, the
The
theme
Mimi
park with
statue.
Monsemon, Bancho Mamemon crying because he gets to graduate finally.
Yeah, he graduated finishing
That
school.
was
Good for him.
precious.
I know. Gardramon and Andromon are still dead. That happens.
Mhm.
And then the
I
obvious
like that. It was circle back to that for a moment. Remember when that episode aired and like a whole ton of people were like, "Yeah, that Gardermon's going to come back in some form later. Like it's inevitable."
I wasn't sure Gardramon was going to. I was reasonably sure Andromon would. Because it
I like
felt
the
like
little Hagurumon spinning around it.
and then someone asked the obvious question is what happened? And here's the thing. The whole setup there has basically been that the ending of the original adventure. That's basically like the entire framing of the storytelling is this, oh, the heroes are gone. And then we
Mhm.
see Hikari on the balcony, and then we see
Mhm.
Tailmon's legs just walk by.
Yep.
And I really like that. And the, going over everyone, showing what they're up to. I really
Two
go,
series in
go.
a row where they didn't arbitrarily separate the Digimon
I
with
know.
their
I think
kids.
Kind of really like the throwback to the original adventure with like the Digimon in the horrible disguises.
They
but
touched on it. They kind of treated it very
yeah.
well, where it's like
Now,
anyone who's coming into the series for the first time will go, "Oh, that's nice. They got to stay together." And for anyone who's been with Digimon for a long time, it's still a little bit of subverting the expectation.
yeah. Now, here's the interesting thing. This scene at the end actually has the one thing that I thought AR was going to be upset about, and I don't think he noticed. Because it sets up something that kind of doesn't matter, and I honestly thought you were going to like go for the jugular on that one, AR, and I'm not sure you noticed.
Okay.
Because people were very like, what does this mean? There's a slight appearance that not I mean we see Taichi and Agumon in the digital world, and they kind of make clear that at this point the kids can go back and forth if they want to.
I don't know if they made it clear
Well, I mean,
necessarily, but it
that
seemed like it was definitely in
yeah.
progress.
So the suggestion that multiple people have commented on is that if you look at the two beds in the Yagami apartment,
Oh, good
there's no
God. Okay.
sheets or anything on Taichi's. Like he stayed and didn't go back at all. And I honestly thought you were going to notice that and hammer on it because it really doesn't matter with the setup of the ending
No,
one
I
way or
mean
the other.
it's I honestly interpret it as like, what if Taichi did stay in the digital world? I didn't care. because
Well,
one, it's not unprecedented. Two, we don't know a damn thing about his life in the real world. He might not have
well,
one in the real
well, no.
world.
The thing is,
So it's like, why not?
here's the
He's
thing. We
not
do
really a human anyway.
see that's where the cynicism goes too far. Is we see him at the beginning of the series. He's not really bothered by his life. He's perfectly happy.
No, he's totally fine.
Yeah,
But
which is
yeah,
why.
it's like we don't know anything about it, so we
No,
don't
and that
really
and
have
that and
any.
that's why at
Can't
the
really
end.
form an opinion about him
Yeah.
staying or visiting the
Well, see,
digital
here's the thing.
world.
I just take it as, oh, he's visiting the digital world, so his bed's not made because he's not going to be
Oh
there
no,
for a bit.
I took it as he's staying in the digital world, and it didn't bother me at all.
Eh, eh. And then,
I think Hikari coming, I was like, "Hi, Mom, I have a new cat.
yeah.
Also, Taichi will be back eventually,
So they,
probably."
so
Yeah,
they, so they
that
end,
seemed like a totally Taichi thing to do.
they
To me,
end with
honestly,
the tilt up.
I totally could see Taichi pulling a Masaru.
Eh. It
Absolutely.
Yep,
wasn't interesting when Masaru did it either.
but it's less
I
interesting
mean,
that
I
Taichi
can
did it
do it.
Eh,
because Masaru did it first.
eh. We end with the tilt up. They go walking off. We get that nice little hint that the adventure isn't over. We get the last end theme, and then we get one more encyclopedia, and finishing off with Koromon, where the series started. It's actually kind of cute. And then at the end, Koshio says goodbye and threatens everyone by saying that they'll see you again someday.
Oh my god, the number of people that were trying to interpret that as sequel bait. Like, and it's maybe not.
No,
That doesn't mean anything. That's how
this is
That's
basically
a generic goodbye.
adventure make
yeah.
other bills. Adventure pays the bills. We'll be doing more adventure stuff eventually.
Well, and
Well,
here's the generic
even
setup.
then
Honestly,
even that's assuming too much.
I would say the one thing is it does mean that if they want to do more adventure in the future with them as kids, they don't have to explain anything or even explain that it's related to the reboot. They
Correct.
can literally just have them show up in a series, an OVA as kids, and you can say they had an adventure a year ago, and you don't have to say anything else past that. Because the original adventure kind of overused how many times you could shove them back in, while also saying they definitely didn't go back.
Yeah, the canon of the Adventureverse,
Yeah.
the original
So
Adventureverse, the canon got a little too
yeah.
crowded for its
So
own
now
good.
they can 100% just ignore it and just have them show up if they want to.
Yeah. One detail from that epilogue that I didn't notice until last night when I was getting screenshots for the blog was that Yamato and Takeru were actually reuniting in Shibuya. I thought that was adorable.
I mean, isn't that where they
Aww.
all live though? I mean,
I don't
not Yamato,
think
but
so.
I believe they were in Shibuya. Like I
Shibuya
think
area maybe, but no, just specifically, it's just a nice touch. And also, we have no idea where Takeru lives. Like we knew, like Taichi was in the vicinity, and Koshiro and Sora and Hikari were in the vicinity. Everybody else, we have no freaking idea.
close enough.
Yeah, it's not as explicit as the first. It was like, oh yeah, they all lived in Odaiba at some
Yeah,
point, just one apartment building.
yeah.
I'm
Well,
I'm
Nerima,
pretty
but
sure they
yeah.
actually did specify that Takaru did live roughly where Hikari did at
Tak,
one point.
no, Takeru and Joe were actually on the other side of the bay.
Fair enough.
Takeru and Joe were not in Odaiba in season 1.
No. I'm not talking about season. I'm talking about this show.
Oh no, they didn't say anything.
I'm pretty sure that when they the initial explosion stuff, the area that was going to be hit, which is where Taichi was worried his sister was, that Yamato reacted because Takaru was there also. Is what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
because he was looking
Well,
out the window.
Yeah, that they were in roughly the same.
with a blast that size, specifics don't matter.
Yeah, but
As long as
but
he's
the
in like
character.
a 20-mile radius, it's gonna hurt.
That's the character intention, though, is that it's roughly the same area. Eh,
That's flimsy.
eh, could be worse. I could point out that the show started well, ended well, and that's what most people are probably going to remember years from now.
I disagree.
I mean, to be fair, people told me my opinion on Savers wasn't going to hold up when it aired. Technically, it didn't. Savers was more kind of forgotten than negatively remembered, to be honest.
Yeah, Sabers is a little of
I
a
don't think
is
that
a
many people watched
yeah,
Sabers to
Sabers
begin
just
with.
doesn't have enough people watching it.
That's good. Makes me happy.
Everyone watch Sabers and Atmon.
I think most people would probably wait to watch Savers until there's some sort of HD version
We're
someday.
waiting.
And at some
Still waiting.
here's the thing. As much as I don't like Savers, I will say this: at some point, there has to be some way to make that movie look not like shit.
Oh, I think that's a lost cause.
No, I don't mean the
I
animation. I mean the actual like Blu-ray
Nope.
copy does
No,
not look good.
it's
There has to be some way to make it look decent for people. The
mm,
same I'll say for the other one I don't really like, X Evolution. There has to be some way to make that
I think X
some.
Evolution has. I think there's more of an opportunity to make X Evolution look good in the Sabers movie.
Well, here's the thing. It mostly matters on if Toei got the assets from Imagi before they closed, because
That's
that
yeah.
animation studio
Well.
does not exist anymore.
Anyway,
Yeah, but yeah, began well, ended well. Lot of bumps in the middle though. A lot.
yeah,
Uh,
began well, ended good enough. Middle was borderline unwatchable at times.
and see, I'm not sure that counts for one reason. At some point, if a show isn't good, people will walk away, and really, very few people actually walked away from this one.
I know a lot of people who walked away from it. A
A-
lot of people who
And
walked
most
away
and
from it.
most of the people that I know walked away came back. I know Shin had walked away, and by the end, she was like very sentimental about the show, which is odd because I think she left in like the teens. And then she like turbo jumped through to get through, and she was feeling very positive and sentimental about it by the end.
Something tells me she didn't watch every episode.
She did, I believe. I
She
told her,
certainly
Strange.
did.
I told,
Maybe spiking through it like quickly
I told her some
is
people
a
didn't like
better
I told her
watch.
some people didn't like the last Mimi Joe episode, and she got upset.
I
How can
didn't say I
anyone
didn't
not
like it.
like a Mimi episode?
Well,
I
no, I
didn't
didn't. No,
necessarily
I'm
not
not.
like
No,
it.
I'm not saying I named you. I'm saying
It
that
was
there
just
were
very it
people.
just had a lot of obvious flaws to it that had to be acknowledged. That's
So
one where I liked the episode better than I graded it.
fair enough. But yeah, that was not specifically me saying you didn't like it. I'm saying I saw a number of people who really did not like that episode. Like, didn't like
But
it.
anyway, I do know a number of people who did drop it.
Yeah. So
Cowards.
that's so that's
Lucky.
that's the end for Digimon Adventure /:2020 slash. I'm trying to decide if I think that's the end of it, but we have a question that deals with that later.
Thank God it's over.
And then
Let's run the rest.
we have a Diginavi in a few days because Ghost came soon. And hey, look, it's a Gamamon mascot costume.
Yeah.
I want the thing!
So the Diginavi's this Friday. Yuki Iwai and Chiaki Matsuzawa are hosting again. Matsumi Tamura, hero from Ghost Game, is going to be there. They will have pre-recorded footage of the second series director, the new one, Kimishita. Himitoshi, said the wrong name there. And Sawashiro, who's the voice of Gamamon. Kokolo showing up again, which it is very funny how almost no one could have actually seen their comedy, and English Digimon fans like feel like an endearment to those two now. Like they are a stand-up comedy duo who theoretically almost no one in the West who likes them will have seen their comedy outside of unsubtitled card videos and the occasional appearance on a Diginavi. That's kind of surreal, don't you think?
The
Weird
talent's
shit
there. They're
catches
going to
on.
show it off.
Yeah. Yeah. So we get the nice Gamamon suit. They show some of the behind the scenes stuff. The one is very clearly where a promo was filmed with the Gamamon plushie and everything. They show off the sleep mode from Digivice V. They also confirm that the Vital Bracelet shorts will be continuing with the Digivice V.
Yay.
Once we saw the CGI renders, it felt like they would, but those could have easily been advertisements. I mean, the shorts are anyways, but you know what I
I mean,
mean.
they technically are
Yeah,
advertising. Yeah.
yeah, but you know what I mean though, like actual like
they're very pretty commercials.
yes, and long. Um,
That
the
and
English
long.
corner will return for the card game. We get to see a put together theoretical final version of the Wargreymon model, and something else that we'll be talking about in just a couple minutes. So, and it's weird. Very often in these photos, I don't recognize this as the card battle set for some reason, but I definitely do this time. It's strange. It's the camera angles they use sometimes. I don't quite notice it's the set they film on every week, and I don't know why I don't. Yeah.
Because generic light
No,
colored
exactly.
room.
It's a nice generic room though, I'll say. And then it's weird. A week to go, less than a week to go, they've tossed a bunch of Ghost Game stuff at us, and it still doesn't feel like we know all that much.
It's like, okay, here's like a 30-second clip that
Yeah.
is
So
barely anything.
Yeah,
Yep,
it's a 30-second clip of nothing and all the information we would have expected to have
and
gleaned from the magazine a month ago.
people have already decided if the show's going to be good or bad based on nothing.
Of course they have.
Yeah. Um, so we have the first episode title finally, a new kind of mystery after school. It's the Stitched Mouth Man. Oh man,
Oh boy. That's a
Adventure.
Actual
mouthful.
light novel title.
Yeah, I was gonna say like Adventure kind of went with like old style anime titles, and
This
here we're
is
kind of like to the
this is
modern light novel.
it's actually very comparable to Hunters and Cross Wars episode titles. Hunters
Yeah,
especially.
yeah. But like Digimon hasn't done those titles that often, so it's like
Yeah, usually they're pretty short.
yeah. So now we're to like, oh man, it's telling us just as little as the short ones. It just takes longer to make sure I'm typing it correctly. Um, then they put up a. The funny part is the promo itself that's embedded in this cast comment video. I'm 99% sure not a single frame is different.
It's exactly the same. I watched it. It's
Yeah,
exactly the same.
yeah. Here's the thing: like I'm watching, I'm like, did they change this a little bit? I'm pretty sure
No,
no, but yeah.
not
And then
fucking all.
we get to see the promotional Gamamon plushie, which oddly this one's actually a plushie because
Yay.
I know me and Dev talked about this like the Harrismon one. I don't think we call it a plushie, but I think it's like carved foam.
It's
This one,
probably like either insulation foam or
yeah,
upholstery foam, where
You know,
it keeps the shape.
I want it anyway.
yeah. Now the
Same.
Gamamon one is actually a plushie. Oh, we all want the Harrismon one, regardless of it's a
I
weird little
just want
statue.
Harrismon in the house.
Yeah. And then the start guide. It's amazing that how like Onke went through everything to grab all the like print information. It's like amazing how little this actually really does tell us. Like we get to see a few Digimon, most of them which we kind of knew were show up. The preview, the the spread that's dedicated to the preview episode 1, a couple things here are new, but not much. And I believe are all the screen caps from that same trailer? Because I'm pretty sure they are.
There's one new one. There's one new one.
The one with Clockmon from the back.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. I wasn't sure. Then the Digivice V, which man, that I really hope it looks better in the show, and it does not look like a CGI. Like I hope it blends better into the show because the CGI traced toy. I can't tell
Looks
if
like
this is
ass.
here's the thing. I can't tell if this is actually like a render for the show or if they just filtered the same promo image of the Digivice V that we've had for 2 months now. Like I don't know.
I'm
Like
pretty
is it
sure it looks filtered.
It looks filtered to
no?
me
But that's
too.
what I mean. I can't tell, and it's my job to notice these things. And
Well,
then
you
we get
throw that shit into Illustrator. You put it in like just
yeah.
like
No, I
3
know,
lines.
I know.
That's it.
And then in the
They're not
little
putting that effort for this.
And then in the little bits of information, we get to see a silhouette of an evolution. And I'm trying to decide if this is adult, as everyone's assuming, or if this could just be like perfect. It's certainly a guy with a cape, and I'm
Uh,
disappointed. And I'm disappointed that so many people went to Yugi so fast.
I don't know, my brain went to furry bait.
So we'll see what comes up. I the one thing I will say, I feel like this page specifically does not do Gamamon any benefit because we get like the energetic Agumon pose, and Gamamon's like T
Just
posing.
standing there looking
Yeah,
constipated.
like they couldn't have
Disassociating.
used like that smiling Gamamon image. Um, then they did a
No, you
page.
just got hit him just
Then
zoning out.
He's new. He's new. He's still getting used
yeah,
to the cameras. Give him a
then
break.
then they did a page dedicated to Tanya Yabuno. They go over Ghost Game a bit. Um, he talks about some of the character design stuff, which it's interesting. You can very much tell they want to make sure they didn't give much in the way of information in this. Like, it very much feels like this has been scrubbed, considering we know how he talks in stuff. It feels scrubbed. We got storyboards where they almost show us stuff here. Like, I'm
Almost.
happy we got to see them, but like, man, they really did go out of their way to like, outside of telling us that one shot is in fact the evolution scene. And the third storyboard I think is actually new content. Most of this is stuff we've seen. Um, and there's the picture of the Digivice V that hasn't been filtered. They also go over cards and figures. Basically, the rest is the advertisement portion of the, hey, we paid VJump to make this.
Yep.
Um, we got translated interview with one of the directors from VJump. This is the kind of interview I expect because this one actually does tell us nothing. Like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is the type of interview where if you went, okay, this is going to be a hard horror series, it will convince you it is. If you're not sure, it's not going to convince you of anything. It's the only thing that's actually new here is that the idea that Gamamon is one of those Digimon that apparently has never been seen before.
So it's basically a
It.
Doraemon.
Yeah.
I mean, that was Gilmon also.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was basically the main.
Even the part about calling it episodic, like every show's episodic for at
Yeah,
first.
yeah, and then all the social media stuff changed it over to Ghost Game Brand. This is the image of Gamamon they should have used, with him smiling. They also announced, the various networks that would show it. Pretty normal. More digital distribution to be announced. But yeah, it's strange. It feels like they went so hardcore with the adventure stuff for like the month and a half before
Yeah,
that.
this is very sparse.
Well, because I think part of the issue was they still had so much adventure stuff coming out. Like, it feels like they want to wait till the show starts, and I'd like to know about the music and stuff. Honestly, like that'd be nice.
Maybe who's performing it at least?
So here's the thing.
We get
We
an
have.
ending theme?
I was
We
gonna say
don't know.
I was gonna say we of course don't know anything about the music, but if it was Takeyoshi Tanimoto next week, we're all gonna be here like, obviously. That would be the reaction if it's him.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. I even with no information, I would put him as the slight favorite. Not necessarily a favorite over the field, but
It's the only one person you could really guess at this point. I think.
yeah, yeah,
Like here's the
it's
thing: you could guess Ayumi Miyazaki, but why?
right.
Especially with he did basically all the non-ending songs for Adventure, and I feel like if there's one part that everyone did universally like, it was those songs.
He did
So
a good job.
yeah, so we will see what pops up, and then the Ghost game, the Digimon figures, and getting standard retail releases for about $8.50.
That's really good.
It is. I have one issue with these though, and I believe it was the issue that I said I was going to have if they did them. The scale for Angorama.
Yeah.
He
like I
had to. They had to
like
scale him down to
yeah.
fit in the box.
I understand that had to be done to get the figure of him for this series, but like when you look at them side by side and you kind of
It
realize that
doesn't. When you buy all three of them together, it's just gonna look wrong.
yeah, especially since if you look at the photos where you're 100% sure the figure's at the right scale, Gamamon is taller than he is
Yeah.
because the hair floopies in the height that they had to take
Oh,
into
that
Oh
account
my
to make the
god.
figure.
the cursed Ahoge.
Oh man, and I like the colored cages to be honest.
Still
So
say the Ahoge is how he flies.
Just spins like a helicopter.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it's the other ears.
Nope. Nope. I want a
What if it's
spinning
both?
Ahoge. He maybe
Ma-
can use the ears as a glider like Terriermon. That's allowable.
Yeah, but I'm
Wait.
happy.
Okay, the ears go to the side like a biplane, and then the ahoge is kind of like the
The
propeller.
Ahoge is like the propeller, though the ears are like the wings. Yeah, that
And
works.
a lot of people don't seem to like Jellymon's coloring, which is odd. It looks like I think they're just not happy that it doesn't use clear plastic like they expected. Because like it looks
Well,
fine to me.
it's
It's
expectations.
Cute.
it's an $8
Manage your
in action figure
expectations.
for kids,
And it's
which
sponsored by
collectors are gonna
Target.
tear apart. Ah, man, you know what's funny is did you look at the artwork of her on the box?
Yes.
Not at all.
I was about my main thought was, oh man, we're back to Nagatoro again.
Oh God.
Like, look
Why
at
did
that.
you
Like,
say that? Now I can't see anything else.
hey,
Oh.
I had to think of it, so you have to think of it now. That is 100% what that is.
Pretty close,
Fuck,
yeah.
you're
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Which is perfect for
yeah. Well,
Kyushiro.
that's the exact setup that like we've been told, which is kind of terrifying when you think of it.
Oh,
And then,
I'm here for that. Like
don't worry,
uh
AR, it's time
yeah.
for your favorite subject, Digimon Survive. Are you aware the game's been rated somewhere?
Yes. Australia.
Yeah, which is funny because people are like it's been rated in two places. More proof. They send it out at the same time. They're not like. Here's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Is the game? They could throw it out next month with no press, digitally only. It could be a year from now. It could literally be anything. The one interesting thing is Brazil gives us more details than Australia did, so we actually have a better idea of like the content, and it's
I
basically under PG-13,
yeah,
basically.
it's 12s for everything except weapons, and weapons are a 10.
Yes. So
And that's not a scale out of 10 people. That is a
no,
scale out of what age is
that
appropriate.
10 is the lowest rating you can get, minus that it has nothing objectionable to anyone of any
Yeah.
age in any way. And the one thing I will say is I feel bad for Survive fans because Bandai went, we're gonna do a live stream talking about upcoming games, and they didn't say any game names. So like now people are like, does that
Oh
mean Survive?
no.
And it's like, here's the thing:
Oh,
does that mean Survive? The answer is maybe,
probably
but
not.
Probably not.
I wouldn't
Don't
like, yeah,
don't
exactly.
Yeah, it's coming out next year. They're not gonna really do any heavy promotion for it until
So here's the
next
thing: at
year.
some point, they do have to. At some point, here's what will happen, and this is why I feel a little bad. At some point, they'll go, and we know Digimon Survive fans have been waiting, so we want to show you this, and it will be the same trailer we've seen, just with some updated footage. And they'll be like, and we'll have more to say next year, and fans will go, you better not fucking say spring again. So Survive is not dead as far as we know. But much like Duke Nukem
Well,
Forever, I'm not sure what the expectations should be at this point.
everyone will keep waiting with bated breath until next month when it gets a rating from Russia.
And then the new manga starts this week, Digimon Dreamers. The first chapters to Dream of Digimon. We got slightly more information. We have the kid's name is Ritsu Kodo. And am I wrong, or does Pulsemon look better here?
Pulsemon looks better here.
Okay, so I'm not imagining that. We're like, head's not
No,
quite as smooth.
yeah, I like it.
And then the greatest part of the art is Mochimon in the back.
He's
course.
trying his best.
Yes. Now, I'm not sure what he's trying his best at, but he's trying his best.
He's trying his. He looks like he's trying not to look like a Pac-Man ghost.
And Patamon looks like Patamon, which is kind of amazing. Like, it's amazing how Patamon is just exactly Patamon.
Patamon is doing his best to
Yeah.
leap on top of Ritsu's head.
And then it's time for an update on Let's Make Digimon. The polls happened, and the winners were life-size plush toy and the
Surprise.
Kazuna Digivice case. Neither of those are a huge surprise.
Okay, fair enough.
They've specified a few things about the plushies. The goal is baby or child level, and they've already said they're throwing away any votes of I'm just going to vote for this Digimon because it's huge.
No life-size Omegamon then?
Like there was literally like a tweet that like if you vote for a child or a baby Digimon that can't properly be done life-size reasonably, they're ignoring it.
Does that include Angoramon though?
Do we technically for sure know his scale yet? Like in show?
It's probably bigger than they want to make.
Oh, I'm sure, but you know what I mean. Like, we'll see.
Snorlax beanbag chair.
And they also mentioned that a lot of people did request Frontier and Beyond. So for the plushies, the poll for the plushies to decide what to do for them, they had entries for each Digimon series organized as such: a category for adventure, for O2, for Tamers, for Frontier, for Savers, for Cross Wars, for Atmon, and then 8 was for ones that don't quite cleanly fit into it, like X Evolution, Tri, Kazuna, and so forth. Where like Tri and Kazuna, yeah, you could shove that into adventure, but a few things kind of make it odd.
What besides Mekumon would you want from Tri?
Well, for Kazuna, like Morphomon.
Yeah, for Kazuna, Morphomon, obviously.
For Tri, I always forget the little fucker's name. Bakumon?
Yes, Bakumon.
Oh, that's okay. That's fair.
Yeah. But you could also do
Caper.
the rest basically are copies of Adventure, but yeah. That's why they kind of have it. That category is basically anything they've forgotten or that might not fit in cleanly.
That feels like it's like destined to be either Morphomon or Dorumon. Like I think those two are going to be fighting it out.
No. It's not going to be Dorumon. It's going to be Dorimon.
Ooh. Maybe.
That's what I think.
I don't know if we're talking life size.
Because here's the thing, Doraemon I think's too big. I think Doraemon's too big. I think Doraemon gets knocked out.
No, Doraemon. That's not going to stop people from voting for it, though.
No, but here's the thing.
The scale of Doraemon kind of varies.
I know, but I may be wrong. It skews larger, though. I think.
Usually, like for Chronicle, you could.
I just realized who's going to win 8. Tokomon X.
You know what? I would.
Assuming people remember Tokomon X exists when they're voting.
But the thing is, you're talking about what would be practical to make. I think
no. I'm thinking about what people like.
Well,
because here's the thing. It's specifically anime, so people trying to throw in just going, well, it says other works. I'm just going to vote for Digimon Q, Digimon X. Those are all going to get thrown away because they're specifically saying it has to be anime ones that don't fit into the set.
But what I'm saying is they're not thinking in terms of practicality. They're thinking in terms of Snorlax body pillow.
Yeah, but those votes are going to be thrown out. Is the thing. Those are thrown out.
if not, well, they said it would be primarily considered if it was a child or adult, so you can
No,
fit those parameters and still
no,
get
no,
really
no, no.
creative.
I'm literally saying they said that if it is not a normal, reasonable size compared to other life-size plushes they've done for Digimon, they're throwing them out.
I mean,
No, I mean they've actually said they're throwing it out. That's not me like saying
I
they're
don't
going
see
to.
how I don't think most fans would consider Dorumon unreasonable is what I'm saying. And
But
Dorumon is a child level.
and I'm
That's
saying
what
that.
I'm making my
But here's
point.
the thing: if their own scale stuff for X Evolution shows Dorumon as large, bye bye. Now I don't know what their internal stuff shows for it because
Right.
Well,
Doraemon
in
might
X
be considered
Evolution,
small.
he feels smaller.
He's still
Like
small-ish.
compared
They
to
scale him around though, is where it kind
He
of gets
seemed
iffy.
I never interpreted Dorumon as being larger than a typical child level Digimon.
See, the problem there is I may be thinking of him from that fucking figure. Because what else Doraemon have we gotten
I
other than
mean,
that
he's
figure?
not the size of Alphamon.
No, here's the problem. How would you know how large Doraemon is? No one's ever gotten a Doraemon out of that Alphamon figure. So, so the voting ends October 3rd. One day, 20 years from now, we'll see the first time someone has ever transformed that figure. And then we'll find out it's untrue because they just ripped it apart and glued it together.
By your standards, does that
I
mean if
was
they vote for a
tempted.
if that means for the adventure category, if they vote for life size Agumon, it'll stay in, but if they vote for Saber's Agumon, it'll get tossed?
They'll just
That's
use the
that's
same thing and then
actually
put
that's
wristbands
actually
on it.
interesting because I could see them just doing it to the scale of adventure and saying it's life size to a
That's
different version of
yeah.
Agumon, but you wanted this character and this is the way we had to do it to make it work. I could
You
see
can
that being a
yeah,
compromise.
I could too. Arm
But
brace are sold separately.
yeah. Now the most important one though is who will win Category 7 Atmon? I feel like the answer is either Gatchmon or Offmon. I don't.
Offmon.
Yeah,
I'm trying. I'm
I would
trying.
vote for
I'm
Offmon.
trying to decide if anyone other than those two I can imagine winning.
I I think Gatchmon's going to run away with it, but I would vote for Offmon.
It's one of those
Offmon.
two. So we'll see where this ends up because in theory the votes end in a few days. Actually, holy shit, the votes end before we do our next episode, so we may actually be like going over this next week. So
It
we'll
depends
see.
on how quickly they,
Yeah.
tabulate everything and
And then
announce it.
cards. Megadeth and Chaos Degrade for the new boost for the new starter decks. The more I see the way they're doing that, they really need a gradient on those, like desperately. Um,
Oh God.
I mean, you get what I'm saying, right? Like they really
This is
They,
this is the first time I've looked at them, and holy crap,
yeah,
yes.
that's
they need a
bad.
gradient or
Terrible to
something.
look
Oh
at.
no, that's what I was saying last week. Where like on the cover
It's
of the starter decks, they have gradients and everything. It looks nice, and then you look at the card that's like, holy shit, it's a split
it's
right down the fucking middle.
Like, why would you
painful.
do this?
Then Booster EX02 will be out.
Chaos Degrade looks like the side version of the Ukrainian flag.
Will be out December 24th, and it's called Digital Hazard. It's the Tamer set.
Fuck yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and guess that we'll be happier with this one than EX01. Just my guess. And then, because we didn't know this was happening, of course, they replaced the parallel card of Noir with the parallel card of Seal.
Did they now? I hadn't heard.
I know. It's shocking, isn't it? We
Feel
didn't know.
betrayed.
We didn't know this was going to happen, considering it happened 2 weeks ago. Also,
And I'm still on board with it's another cake.
oh,
Like
I still think that what they're going to fucking do is it's going to be Noir will be some sort of event card in the U.S. and Seal will be the equivalent event card in Japan. I
That'd be a dick
honestly think
move.
that's what they're going to do.
that would be the best outcome. I'm not convinced.
I think
But
no. 'Cause here's the thing: they're going to do some bullshit marketing around it, like there was demand for it, and we love the fans, and this was a way we could do it, and blah 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 blah.
now
Um,
who's being
It's like we got
cynical?
no, that's
excommunicated
not.
from the
Here's
church
the thing.
doing
Here's
this
the
to
thing.
you.
That's not cynical because you 100% know that that's what they would say.
Oh no, I
You know it.
completely agree. It's just that's a really cynical way of thinking about
No,
it.
it's not cynical because they've done it in the past few years. When they talk
I'm not
about
saying you're
when
wrong.
they talk about
Sometimes
the
you have very good reasons to be
when they
cynical.
talk
I'm just
about
saying.
the the original Decode petition, and they're like, they had to show stores that there were Digimon fans using the petition. It's like, man, that's amazing. You had a Digimon game come out 6 months ago that didn't bomb, but somehow you have to convince them that Digimon fans exist. That's fucking amazing. It's
So what you're
almost,
saying is your cynicism is warranted, which I agree with.
yeah. But I don't consider that cynicism when we 100% know they're going to do it. Is the thing. It's cynicism when it's just unbridled. Oh, fuckity fuck this, basically. Now, what's interesting is this could be cynical or not. Hey, the Hello Kitty Digimon designs are back for shirts in the US. I actually really
Can you
like
be
the shirts.
cynical with anything around Hello Kitty?
Yes.
I mean, absolutely. Although I guess, do the shops still exist in every mall? I mean,
I'm
malls
not
barely
in every
exist.
mall. Not in
No.
every mall.
But you know what I mean? Like I remember being.
Do the malls still exist?
Now, the interesting thing is after we
Considering I work in one, no, they don't.
so
Okay.
They
after
really don't.
so
Yeah,
after we
thanks for the
reported
update.
this, the shirts have all been pulled from the shop. The tweet's gone. It appears they may have announced these early, which is why we only got 5 of them when we can clearly see a Biomon shirt. So we'll see if these pop back up.
Yeah,
And
probably.
we'll also see if they notice that their shirt that they're marketing as Gatomon says Tailmon on it. We will see. And then the poll result for which festival stall would you visit? The winner is Beelzebubon.
Dagomon came so close. I'm sad.
Can we just say how amazing it is to see Terriermon and Lopmon with the shotguns?
That's great.
Terriermon desires
and here-
violence.
Terriermon shows violence today.
And here's the best part. The prizes are 20th anniversary Digivices and Pendulums, and the re-released The Digimon figures. So the percentages on this were actually interesting because while there was the far and away winner, it actually feels like there weren't losers this time. I mean, there obviously were, but 33% for the shooting gallery, 15% for the Dagomon Takoyaki.
I swear people just voted that for the
they wanted to see the art,
curiosity
yes.
of what that would look like.
13% for Gobomon's Fish Scoop.
It's Gomamon. He's not going to finish that low.
12% for Gankumon's Karaniki, which
that one did a lot better than I thought it would.
Well, I believe I said that this one would do well purely because people would want to see what the hell you would do art-wise for it if they even understood what the category was for non-Japanese voters.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay.
Tailmon's Ring Toss, Tentomon's Noodle Shop, and Elecmon's Ball Scoop.
I expected Tentomon to do better.
I think the issue is that's the kind of image that you can almost see in your mind too easily.
Yeah.
Like Tentomon with the hat.
It's like I think it depends on the mentality of some people. Like I've been spurring people to like vote for the one you actually want to see art for, and some people
exactly.
I'm sure a lot of people are still going to vote for Tentomon's awesome, so I'm going to vote for it.
Yeah. And then this is where shit gets weird and kind of stupid. So they opened a poll for, hey, there's only one episode of Adventure left. Which villain left an impression on you in some fashion? And it's like, okay, that makes sense. And then last night they fucking changed the poll. It's the same poll that's added at bottom on core, but like they don't clarify. Like, were old votes thrown out? Do you have to revote or what? Because it's the same poll that just added core to it. Does everyone just get the votes they had and now core is just there also? So we will see.
Will we see? I don't know if they'll even specify that.
Oh, no. I mean like how he ranks. We'll see. I don't mean like they're never gonna tell us.
Okay.
But this feels like one of those polls where they're gonna tell us everyone's rank at the very least. Probably even the percentage, maybe. But I feel like we'll do. But this one has so many that I don't know if they give us the percents. Because there's like 38 of them.
Yeah, this is
So and then
trying to think of the most pathetic one in that group, but there's a lot of pathetic ones in that group, so I can't pick on one of them.
So let's all guess what we think the bottom one's gonna be, not the top.
Yeah, that's a good. There we go. Which one's gonna be bottom of this group? I think left an impression on. I actually think one of the ones towards the bottom will be Algomon Perfect because I think either Adult or Ultimate are going to take the votes away from the
See,
Algomon
I'm
fans.
trying to decide, do I want to vote for who I think was the worst, or am I just going to vote for the one that almost seems boring next to the rest? I'm going to vote because, like, here's the thing. I could see people vote for like Velgramon because they like Frontier or Velgramon. There's
Hmm.
one.
Yeah,
There's one.
Valgrimmon won't be last.
There's two choices here that feel like they could. Actually, I'm gonna say one choice that could be the bottom. Scorpiomon.
That's a
That and
that's a good
Splashmon.
choice.
But here's the thing.
Of course,
Croc fans are
Splashmon
gonna
might
vote
have
for
Crossforce
Splashmon.
fans.
Like, here's the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it kind of looked like shit, and it was just, oh,
Yeah, I
okay,
know,
this
but
is.
it's like
Also,
I
that
was.
was the debut of like Alterius mode, so
But
it's not like it
but
wasn't necessarily a memorable episode.
but Scorpiomon had that neat the Were-Garurumon fight. That was a neat little fight, and that was an
Mm.
interesting episode. I just think like
I
I
think it was
barely
so
remember,
long ago. I don't think people will remember that one
but
though.
that's why I'm saying I think he's the
Yeah,
bottom.
I think that's a good call. I'm sticking with Algamon. I'll go for Algamon Perfect. I think
Okay, do we
Scorpionmon's a
want
good
to try
choice.
to get do we want to try to guess the top?
Ooh.
So the problem is
Mm.
there's like here's the thing, as much as we actually can bash the current show, there's actually a lot of good choices here that I could actually see being the top. Like
Yeah. And
like even
I
like
don't.
even ones that aren't good villains, oddly. Like here's the thing,
Yeah, like it's
I could see Gokumon ranking high.
as crappy as Millenniumon was. I think he's going to be up there.
Oh, I'm sure he will. Like if I
I mean, it was a very fun visual of having two fluffy dragons beat the shit out of it.
like I'm trying to think, who do I think? Because the problem is it's like trying to ignore who I think would be at the top, and I'm trying to think who would people want.
Mm-hmm. I think a
Hmm.
Batamon core is a chance if
It
enough
it
people get in there late.
yeah,
I
but it
feel like
also
Mugendramon's going to be really high because
yeah,
that was
Mugendramon would be very high.
excellent.
Yeah, Mugendramon could be up there too.
That
Let's
was
see.
more of a memorable fight
I
than
wouldn't
Millenniumon.
I wouldn't be surprised if Deathmon ends up there. I
It's
think
weird. He
Deathmon
kind of
Only because
sucked.
it's recent.
He kind of sucked. Well, he kind of sucked
he
as a
did
villain, but
well.
yeah, he's recent.
Yeah, they all and a lot of them kind of sucked ultimately, but these are fans trying to vote on it. So
Like
like
Dark
I
Knight,
already said, Millenniumon as a
like
chance
like
is
Dark
probably going to
Knightmon,
be
I
up there.
expect
So
to rank highly.
yeah, I think
Dundevimon will
Dundevimon's
be
going to
pretty
be up
high.
there.
Andromon, I can see ranking highly because that was an episode that everyone loved.
I'm
That's
I'm lower on that. I don't think Andromon's going to
like
finish
I
as
know
high
who
compared to these
I
other guys.
think should be at the top, but I do not think they will actually be at the top. The one that feels interesting to me is it feels like Ogremon,
Yep.
Okermon should be higher. I don't know
but
if he will be, but he should
no,
be.
exactly. I agree with that. And oddly, like we don't, they left out a handful of villains that would have just like clobbered the rank. Like here's the thing, Edamon, and like there's some
Yeah,
like some of the comedy villains. Like here's the thing, Bancho Mamemon would have ranked highly if he were in here. Oh wait, he is here.
he is. He is on there.
How did I skip him like 10 times looking over the list?
Because you are a
Wow.
blind ass bitch.
Because sometimes, yeah, because some of the villains actually had some
Yeah,
decent personality behind
what was
them.
happening was I'm like, look,
Like Bancho Mamimon's on there.
yeah,
Olegmon's on there. Like some of
yeah.
these
That's the
villains
funny thing
didn't
is
suck.
you're like, I'm like skimming through the list. I'm going like villain, 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 that guy, villain, 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 and like my brain just like skipped right over Banshee Mamamon like 10 times.
That guys.
So okay, moving
You
on from
shaped
the
like
many
a
polls.
friend.
Moving on from the many polls, Digimon Profile showed us how to draw Gamamon.
You tried.
I honestly thought by the time I went to sleep that night that the Digimon Classroom would have a video up about the drawing song, like they did last time.
Oh.
Although I guess that was a few weeks later, so maybe we still will.
That might
Am
end
I
up being. They might sneak something like that onto like
so
DigiNavi or something, like just a
so
little project for the
maybe
hosts to
so
do.
weird thing? The actual colored in Kenji Watanabe Gamamon art, is that creepy as fuck for some reason, or am I imagining that?
No,
Like
it's creepy.
it's like
That's
it's almost like a
it
person
looks
or something. It's weird.
yeah,
It,
it looks way off and
it's
it
very like human faced for Gamamon.
It looks
yeah.
like Sarah from the
Land
Land
Before
Before
Time?
Time.
Yeah.
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 I have not seen that in recently enough to remember.
No,
So moving on
It's
to
been scarred into my memory.
yep,
yet more
same.
art. Reference book update.
Yep, yep, yep.
This is the most we've ever had in a week, I think. So let's start
Yeah,
off with
and
the
I
obvious
gave
one.
up translating halfway through.
So let's start off with Ghost Game. We get the baby 1, baby 2, and child forms of our 3 lead Digimon.
The bunnies are a pain in the ass to translate. They're just vague as hell.
Man, those are some eyes on that first bunny on
Mm,
Pyeonmon. Those are some fucking eyes. Those are like those are like cartoon illumination animated eyes. Like those are the eyes on one of the kids from the
that's the
Despicable Me movies.
that's the See, I
Oh
was
my,
gonna go to Secret Life of Pets because it actually has a bunny in it.
oh
But
my
yeah,
god.
art looks really nice. And hey, we kind of I the one thing that bothers me about these is they kind of like scaled them weird, so they kind of look shitty.
Yeah, Jellymon's on that especially.
Yeah,
Just
it it's still better than the 320 by 320, but man, yeah. So
yeah.
we got the art for Abatomon last week, but we got the proper reference book update for Pac-Man this time. The two tongue thing's still weird, but whatever. Then in the later, but in the
Gives
middle of
it
the week,
flavor.
so here's the interesting one thing. A lot of people want to know why they posted these early, and here's the thing. You know why? Because if they'd posted them when they should have, they would have gotten crushed by Adventure. So a couple days
Yeah.
early, we got, hey, Cross Wars ended 10 years ago today before it became Hunters. Here's reference book entries from both the anime and manga. From the anime, we get Superior Mode, which,
Mm-hmm.
final Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
Then
Looks
Luminamon,
cool.
Luminamon Nene version, which again, kind of final Digimon.
I shrieked in delight.
Yeah.
Both of them look nice. You could almost imagine the not adding the the Nene version ones to the reference book ever, so it's just neat to get it. And Superior Mode, is anyone else a little disappointed that they don't have like tiny little reference book art spinning around him of everyone?
I
Yeah,
would
a
not
little bit.
I would not expect them to put
Oh,
forth that kind of
I
effort.
wouldn't expect them to,
Not that demanding.
but it feels like they want us to think something is there other
I
than
would
the
maybe do
circles.
like instead of just like a solid ring, I would maybe do like more speckled
Yeah,
effect, but
and
Yeah.
and and then we get the two debates of the Nene art. One, the people wanting to know if this is appropriate, which it's Digimon, so whatever.
it's the Cross Wars manga
Yeah,
that ship has already sailed.
yeah, yeah.
It already exists,
Yeah.
so
Well, here's the weird thing. We don't know when these art are from, of course. Like these could be brand new. These could be 10 years old.
right,
We've just
but
never seen them. No, no,
but what
no.
I'm
But here's
saying
what's
is that
weird: is this is not how she looks in the manga. This is based on prototype art. This is based on like
well,
test art.
I mean, she's not any she's just as or even more scantily clad in the manga, so
I
do
think
with that what
I'm
you
I
gonna
will.
think
say she's wearing less in the manga.
Yeah, I
yeah,
was gonna say I think she's wearing
yeah,
less in the manga.
yeah.
I mean, this is just
This is
like
early art.
average bathing suit.
This is
Yeah.
yeah, this is modest by manga Nene standards.
And then, of course, that probably means that at some point we'll probably get Shademon.
I
Yeah,
certainly hope so.
I was actually gonna wonder about that.
It,
Like,
it,
if we got
it,
this one, why wouldn't
yeah,
we also get
yeah.
a Shademon?
And then, yeah, I'm curious it'll be interesting to see what they do for that one, especially since this one doesn't actually use the manga design. So I'm kind of curious what we get for that one. And then, of course, as we expected last night, not only got a reference book update on social media. They used two different pieces of the art for a Batomon
Fancy.
core. We
Yes,
get
she
normal
looks
and
so
weapon
nice.
arms. It really,
I'm
yeah, it's the kind of
delighted.
thing where you're kind of just staring there and going, so pretty, pretty. Um, I kind of like that the colors of the weapons are kind of different than the main body. Like the
Well,
sword is
yeah,
a bit
you want a
blue,
little
the
bit of
cannon.
contrast in there.
It's kind of
You
neat. I like that.
you can't have
Uh,
the whole thing being all
yeah,
black. It just doesn't it's just not as fun that way.
yeah. And
You need some
then
contrast.
we have these weekend posts. Sometimes they're easy. Sometimes they kill me. This one fucking killed me. This was like 2.5 hours of work. So first up, um, we have a video of the crazy War Greymon and Tai Chi statue from China, which you can
Dear
order in
God.
the U.S. for over $1,000 if you want. I can safely say, as much as me and Dev buy stupid stuff, I don't think either of us have any thoughts in our heads of getting this. Is that correct, Dev?
Absolutely, absolutely not.
Then we have the collector's cards, and one of them, well, actually, what two of them, but only one of them that was relevant. The QR code was readable enough that I was able to get a scan of it and see where it went to. It went to the reference book, as we guessed.
Yeah.
The
Yay.
other card appeared to be like an ad card they inserted that takes you to QIY, which is a Chinese streaming service.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So I don't know. I kind of like as far as collector's cards go, they're kind of nice, especially like the see-through ones. Like I
You know
like
what?
that they
I
did that.
really the Holy Angemon one.
A lot of people are like I'm feeling that card. How do I get that? Don't know. Didn't put in not putting in that much effort to figure it out. And then the exhibition open in China. Lot of this looks nicer than I expected. I was hoping it would look this nice, to be honest. Like where you get like the weird evolution room. You can pull up the art on display of the Digimon to get their analyzer. Uh,
The
you know,
giant Patamon.
yeah, I need like to find a photo of someone in that room so we can be sure what the scale is. Like, is this like when you go to like a science museum and they have the ant thing for the kids that you crawl through? Like, is this just like a 3 foot Patamon that you crawl past, or is this like a 20 foot tall Patamon in a room?
I'm small enough to still do those.
Yeah. Um, the weird poster room. The poster room is the one thing that I feel like I like more than the images that we saw, the renders, but it's less impressive than the renders, where those were just like these gigantic things. And then another shot of the Agumon blow up thing sitting outside.
Of
And hey, look, it's Goku.
course it is.
It's always Goku.
Always
Yeah,
good.
I really would like to see more photos of people there. Look, at some point they have to send Kakudo to China for something. Send him now. Here's the thing: you can send him today because one, it's his birthday, and two, he just got a new phone with a good camera.
Ooh, nice.
Ooh.
He was posting about it on Twitter. He got the iPhone 13 Pro Max because he wanted the fancy camera, and I'm 100% not kidding. And I was more than
Typical.
bemused. I was more than bemused that he buys cases the same way I do for my phone, which is what's a cheap case on Amazon that looks like what I want? To the point that the exact same case is on Amazon US for like $15. But yeah, so happy birthday to him. They really should. If they sent him to China, we'd have amazing photos of all these already.
Yep.
Photos of people in there. We get to see the don't take photos signs.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I really would like more images of that. It looks nice. And then from the Fuji store Lake Town one, that's kind of been like a weird little home base shop for adventure. Ghost Game gets a nice display in the Digimon corner that we've seen before. Um, photo spot. Apparently, so it's the poster but without the image in the middle. Apparently, if you have a flash on, something appears in the photos.
Ooh,
Neat.
cute.
So I keep trying to like look in the photos taken, like if that's a reflection or is that like you can kind of see it. And I'm pretty sure that's a reflection, but I'm not sure because
It's Omegamon.
in one of them I swear I can kind of see Gamamon, but I'm not sure if I'm just imagining that.
That would be the most obvious thing to
Except
be
no,
hiding in
except
there.
except here's the thing. Gamamon is where I think I see Gamamon is where he is on the real poster, and that is theoretically where you would be standing, kind of making it worthless.
I
Um,
mean,
well, you know what I mean.
you're not going to take a picture with Flash and suddenly have information about the music next week.
No, no, but like I figured like it'd be like Digimon jumping at you higher up from the photo, not just it's the rest of the poster image, but I'm blocking the character I most want to see because of where I'm standing. They have recording scripts as design art. There's also a search for mistakes question challenge to get stickers that's right next to it. They show you the differences, the two poster images. There's wrong things. I wonder if one of the things is the bandage that wasn't on the one version.
Okay.
Hmm.
I can't I can't see it close enough, but I kind of wonder that. See, and now I'm actually pulling up the photo to see if it's larger, and it's not. So
Let's not play hidden or
eh,
missing images or different images.
someone get a photo of that, and we will play it. And then, so
That's
with Adventure over, we got a lot of cast images and messages. I'm sure I missed a ton of these, but these are what I was able to notice. A lot of nice photos, a lot of nice messages. We won't go over them all, but the guy who plays
Best
Commandamon
boy
looks so
gets flowers.
happy. The guy he looks so happy. They gave him flowers, like you said. Like he really looks like he looks like he's about to cry.
I mean, he got to play best boy, so
Yeah.
it's a
Um, then hey, look,
role of a
Hiroki.
lifetime.
It's Hiroki Harada, Leomon in the last episode. Lots of posing, a lot of people happy. Megumi Han showing the Agumon and Gabumon plushes, which I guess were in the recording booth the whole time. I'm not sure
Hmm.
if those are hers or if those are just like, hey, there's Agumon, because I think those are the same ones he's holding in the Commandomon image. So I think they just
Yeah, like
had
the
those.
sleepy Gabumon.
Yeah, I think those are just from the recording booth. So a lot of nice photos and messages there. Then we get art from show staff, and some of these were for the English speaking ones trying to get messages to people to like get permission to post it because a lot of the stuff skews more fan art than like pseudo official art. So trying to make sure
Yeah.
people can get their say also. Jubei 9 did that nice art of Taichi Yamato. Um, the split version's interesting. Split version's weird because it almost is like I think I saw one of those first. I'm like, why are they posting something that says number 6 on it? Yeah, good art there. Key animation layouts from Yoshiyama Yu. He did really cute image of them with Omegamon resting in the mouth, which is weird, but good art. Jordan Bays did a really nice image of Omegamon. Really good outlines on that one. I actually really like. And then we have the normal social art and Kenji Watanabe. The social art's great. The celebration. Hey, and they even did Gabumon's hand things the way they are in the newer show.
Oh.
Agumon looks happy. They all look happy, except Tentomon, who you can't really tell what he's.
He's happy.
They try
His
to make them
little
look happy.
antennae are wiggling.
Yes. Then Kenji Watanabe doing Agumon and Taichi walking away art with his Rob Liefeld styled stuff that he does, where pouches, belts.
They're going on their own little
Yeah.
adventure together.
Tenya Yabuno commented on the cape because that's a very familiar looking cape for
Yeah,
Digimon fans.
right, obviously.
Yeah. And then that's it for that. But hey, I've had nothing better to do for 15 years.
Mood.
I would just like to remind everyone, I was volunteering, I was helping a friend put the site back together, and then I was going to leave.
How'd that go?
I'm still here.
That's how they get you.
Yep.
Never volunteer for things. Bad idea.
I said various nice things. At the end, I point out that some people need to try to be more positive. You'll feel better. Get hobbies. I
Like,
and
running a wiki for
Well,
15 years.
this is a hobby for us.
yeah, wrote a lot there. Read it if and when you guys have time. Certainly been a long. It's weird to think like it was the middle of favors when I started running the place. Very odd, and
The
that made
inmates run the asylum.
yeah. And then for some reason, when that got posted in the chat, then everyone decided they had to start saying their ages.
Hmm.
A lot of old people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I can't judge, obviously.
And then those of you in the chat start throwing up questions. And then we had some sent in ahead of time. Nico said she wanted us to answer who is our least and most favorite character, human in Digimon, and they clarified later that they meant the current adventure. Thank you for asking that, AR, since you were the one who got
You're
her to clarify.
welcome.
Least and most
mm,
favorite for human, most favorite. It feels like the cheat answer, but it's Mimi.
Mimi.
It's gotta be.
We all just
Like, I wouldn't
universally
say
love Mimi.
I stand by that she's not the best character, like, as far as an actual character, she's not the best, but I honestly, as far as
So
humans go, I
for
couldn't think of one that's
least,
better to be.
so I'm holding this specifically to like the 8, because
Mhm.
for human and Digimon, they're like ways to cheat the answers for any of these. So I'm kind of like
For
sticking to
Digimon especially, but yeah.
yeah. For least, I feel like it's either Yamato or Joe. Because I like what they did with Joe. They did it a bit too much though. In Yamato, they kind of forgot that he had a plot. Like they kind of solved it, and then that was kind of it.
I don't even remember
Like
them
before,
solving
like
it,
the first time
but
around,
yeah.
he was my favorite,
Yeah,
but
no, he
now
was
he's just
great in
like
his first couple
Um,
episodes,
and
and
then
then,
for
like, after
Digimon,
episode 8, I think, they just kinda forgot
he's
his
just
whole
there.
thing. Yeah,
so
and then
then
he
for
was just there for the
Digimon,
rest of the way.
most favorite of those 8. Um,
This the Digimon one's a tougher one.
I'm gonna say it's the same one for both. To be honest, it's Tentomon. Because one, I love when they do stuff with Tentomon. They did some interesting stuff here, but it feels like they didn't do enough. And when they did do stuff, uh, th- this is where it's not necessarily even the character, but like not subbing the word right. It kind of just it doesn't make it worse, but it kind of makes it a bit annoying. But it felt like Tentomon didn't get quite enough. So like I'm very amused by him. But then when he does amusing stuff, you kind of go, "Oh yeah, he's a great character, and I would like more of that."
I think my least favorite is probably Piomon, just because didn't really
Mhm.
do
God, I
much.
forget. Here's the thing: I forgot about Piomon when I was even going
Yeah,
through in my
I
head.
was running through the list of the 8 for
I
mine, and I got
forgot.
to Piomon, and I'm like, I cannot think of anything remarkable that she did in the entire series, and that became my answer.
Yeah, you were still going, Dev.
Trying to think of my actual favorite, but Kitty, because the kitty demands violence.
Yeah, that ended up being my favorite too. Like, I think Patamon is still probably the most interesting character, but Tailmon, I think, had a personality with her that carried through her entire run. Like, there was a
Yes.
certain edginess to her that was consistent the whole way
But if it were
that
not
I
limited
really
to the 8, it was
appreciated.
going to be Commandomon.
I mean,
Well, yeah,
obviously.
yeah. Commandomon's the cheat. That's why I said the 8,
Yeah.
because we all could have just said Commandomon. He saved the universe, people. He saved everything, all of it.
But I also really like that one episode where all the Digimon were just like tripping balls, and Tailmon was just like acting like an actual cat.
That was
No,
great.
but then but yeah, Tentomon was acting like a gangster though, and I was just laughing. And then you guys, humans. Yeah, AR, I already know your least favorite. Go ahead.
Yeah, my least favorite is You do make a compelling argument for Yamato, I'll give you that, but yeah, it's Taichi.
Yeah,
Like, come
I
on.
already knew that answer.
He is a worse protagonist than the protagonist of Rear Eyes.
I don't think he's the worst. I do understand your choice. I don't agree with it, but
He
I do understand it. He kind of
he's
he sucked up Showtime, but I don't really have an
he
issue with it.
sucked up all the energy and he put out nothing. He is the most generic character you can
See,
shonen protagonist you
I
can
don't
imagine. I
I
can't think
don't
of one interesting thing
I
that
don't
he
agree
that
with that,
really
but
sets him apart from
I
any other
understand the
protagonist.
logic though. And who was your favorite?
Oh, it's still got to be Mimi.
Yeah, that one I kind of
It's
We
yeah.
were all instantly, it's Mimi.
okay. So
It's really
Dev, your favorite's Mimi. Who's your least favorite?
Hard to say, like, it's somewhere between Sora and Yamato. Just because they were kind of boring as shit.
I mean, they
Yeah,
were
I don't
other than
disagree.
Mimi, they were all kind of boring.
See, the thing that keeps Sora from that
I
for
mean,
me is
Hikari was fun because
she
she
had some good
also
stuff.
desired violence.
Sora had some good stuff from beginning to end, just not a lot of it.
And Yamato, it started off strong, and then he was just kind of there.
Yeah, Yamato started off really strong,
Yeah.
and then we forgot he existed.
And then once Takaru was dealt with, sort of, that was it.
Well, with Takara, you mean with regarding Yamato or with Takara? With
With
Takaru?
Yamato, I'm
Okay,
talking about.
yeah.
Yeah, once they minimally dealt with Takaru, that was it for Yamato's story.
Yeah.
That's why he kind of annoys me because
Yeah, no, Yamato's
Um,
bad too.
okay, then Galhart wants to know what was your favorite funny moment or episode from 2020. Favorite that the entire see, I kind of almost want to say any funny Mimi episode, but really it's the Edamon
Yeah,
Volcamon
it's
episode,
the
isn't it? Really?
Edamon.
God, that was
It's
amazing. That was
that
just
was the
an
funniest,
absolute
yeah.
delight to
From
watch multiple times.
Yeah.
yeah, from beginning to end, it made me happy,
Mhm.
and that's what the goal should be.
I mean, as far as a favorite episode, I think that the 8th episode, the children's attack on the fortress, is going to be that's going to
Oh
go
no, no,
down as
no,
an
no! Galhart
underappreciated
specifically
thing.
was
But
funny.
funny. Well, yeah, it's
Moment story
Edamon
episode.
versus
They don't specify favorite episode, specifically
okay.
favorite funny moment story or
Favorite
episode.
funny. Yeah.
So
That's
yeah,
funny. It's totally the funniest thing.
yeah, exactly.
Runner up is the Digimon tripping balls.
Then
That's the
sent in
same
ahead of time.
episode though.
Yeah, that episode.
Well, that moment.
Oh, okay, yeah, I get what you mean.
Well, no, that was the moment. That's the funniest moment in that episode.
Well, it's also them kind of like another funny part for me was when they are like at the end chasing after me. It's like, let us be your followers.
And then sent in ahead of time. AR, why don't you read this one?
Uh Oh, what spelling on Wikimon does DevQ hate the most?
There are so many, but it's probably a toss up between Murmuckusmon and Takaimon.
Oh.
Because they had it spelled
Is
correctly first.
are
They
they
had it
really you're
spelled,
in Wikimon still going with Takaimon?
unfortunately.
Good
Really?
God.
And what's weird?
I thought he raised that as a joke a
So,
couple episodes
so Dev, I would
ago.
like to ask. So, minus when you fight for it, the policy is the names on Wikimon should be what the reference book spelling is. Is that correct?
We prefer to follow the reference book
So,
spelling because usually it's the only one.
so it's interesting. That's not the spelling for superior mode.
Oh no, what they do now?
So I'm going to paste this in for the reference book. This is the reference book, not Wikimon. Wikimon's not using the spelling. I'm going to paste it in for the chat and for you guys. This is how the reference book spells it in English.
God, what the fuck?
I was expecting it to be just a general typo like superior mode.
Yeah, that is actually how they spell the X7 superior mode. So that's not how it's spelled on Wikimon. Although
If anyone changes, I'm gonna have to kill them.
now the interesting thing is it's not even listed under the other name stuff like they normally do, where normally it's put there some where it's cynically put the official name is actually blah 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 blah. This name does not appear on that page at all. So so to follow the wiki rules, doesn't someone need to change that, Dev?
Absolutely. And I'm not gonna fucking do it.
No, that's like one of the horrible ones that really tells you that they're not actually translating. They're like putting this through something. It pops something
They
out.
can't even Bandai can't even spell the word heroes.
Absolutely true. And then Joe wants to know, what were your favorite battle action centric episodes? I mean, it's the final episode for favorite. Like,
As a singular fight, yeah, probably. Like I'm still gonna
Holy
go back to
Dramon.
I'm gonna
Omega
still go
Mon.
back to episode. It's still gonna go back to episode 8 as far as action sequences. Not so much for remarkable one-on-one fights, but just the fact that all of the kids were doing something different, and
That's
I
true.
appreciated that. Like there
That's
were
true.
tactics involved.
Yeah, I have to just go with the last one, to be honest. It just, although here's the thing, even the fight in episode one, just Greymon versus the Algomon, that was a good fight. Like,
I like the first
It was
episode where you had
visceral.
Taichi
I love
kicking,
that.
beating up the little Algomon. That had a certain charm to it as
yeah,
well.
It's like you beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker.
the show
Yeah,
was good with fights, is the one thing.
yeah.
It forgot mostly everything else, but still. Um, so then Diego sent a very nice letter. Diego, I had to shorten it to make it a question, but your letter was very nice. Diego's a big fan of the model kits. He wanted to know, did we think the amplified ones would keep going now that the standard ones are coming out, especially when you consider that the standard ones are half the price. And
Absolutely.
he also noted that he's a little bit upset that we did not get an amplified Magnamon, because Magnamon's his favorite. He was looking forward to it, and then they announced standard Magnamon. So, Dev, you think they're gonna keep doing amplified?
Yeah, just because I have crazy friends who are absolutely obsessed with model kits, so the
Yeah, see,
different levels of
exactly.
difficulty kind of
So
cater towards different people.
yeah, that's where I was going, was the price and difficulty. They're not basically the same thing. It's effectively a different level of kit. They're just saying that, show designs are basic, a bit cheaper, and fancier mech style designs are more expensive, and they're different enough that I would hope they'll continue. I feel like we need another 6 or 7 months to know for sure, though, because like Beelzebumon could have
Because
just
they
been
both
one.
sell really well, so
Yeah.
especially to keep getting reprints and restock, so they're doing pretty damn
Yeah.
good.
So we'll see. But I would like to believe they will keep doing the amplified ones. I would also like to see I would like to see them do some sort of kit where you get a Digimon that doesn't normally get a kit, but isn't as fancy, so they can include both in the same kit. So like a box with, like, say, Flame Dramon Amplified and Flame Dramon Standard. So you get them in the
That
same
would work
box as
out
like
pretty
a
well.
set. I feel like I'd like to see something like that, where it's not that different from Magnamon, but where there's a bit less flair and they don't need to use the fancier gold paint or gold plastic. So I'd kind of like to see that. Um, so yeah, Jackie wants to know: are there any Digimon that we would like to see debut in Ghost Game? To be
Am I
honest,
allowed? Am I allowed to say Citramon?
so here's it's a good question, but here's my issue with the debut stuff. Is we saw with Adventure, it kind of turns into not weird. I'm trying to
Background
think how to
filler?
word. Kind of. We're like, yeah, I'm not sure how to put it. Just it felt a little weird where people are like flipping out over not seeing the show yet, just because Digimon X will show up, and having the idea of how they're going to show up and they don't. Like long, complicated name fetus. Dev, you can say the name, I can't.
Automata
What
Kachimon.
out of
Yeah,
Tachimon?
where people are like, this is featured in the episode. It's gonna be his moment. It's gonna be him the whole episode. And then it was like, okay,
Very brief. Yeah, just shows up.
yeah. Let's see. Joe
I
wants to
hope
know
they don't have cheap cameos like that. I don't have my hopes high, but I hope they don't resort to that kind of
unless it's
pandering.
Gatchmon. If it's Gatchmon, it can be a cheap cameo.
Even it's weird. They have to frame that a little bit differently in Ghost Game than they could have in Adventure. Like, I think I would have appreciated it in Adventure more than I might appreciate it in Ghost Game, just because we don't know. Also, because we don't really know how the rules of
Yeah,
Ghost Game work. They might not really be. Atmon might
yeah,
be a weird fit in that world.
true. But hopefully we'll figure that out sooner rather than later.
I mean, I think within a couple episodes we'll get the gist of it.
Yeah. Joe wants to know, do you feel Kari benefited in the series from being brought in sooner than the original adventure?
That's a
Functionally, no. Actually, maybe. Because here's the thing: they
yeah.
didn't do that much with her to make it more interesting. But her having even just appearing earlier makes it more because you could have her show up like in the couple of episodes the kids were in the real world. You could have them interact with her and not have to introduce her because she's there.
Yeah. And I think that, it's tricky because it's also a question of whether you like, we're talking about her as her own character or the other characters playing off of her, which was really the benefit in the original adventure was how the others interacted with Hikari.
Yeah,
I mean,
and it
Hikari in original adventure doesn't have a whole lot of character behind her.
no,
It's how Taichi and Yamato and Takeru and everybody else kind of how their characters are affected by her presence.
yeah,
So in that regard, I think the original handles it a lot better, but they also had her heavily embroiled in a plot line to introduce her where she just sort of shows up
yeah.
in this
It
one.
yeah that
She's just a
that's
cryptid in this one.
yeah, it does kind of stick to
She's even less of a cryptid in this one after
yeah.
she gets
She's kind
Tailmon back. She's actually quite normal.
yeah that I didn't even think about that one, but you're absolutely right.
She's a cryptid the whole way her entire run in adventure,
Yeah,
including the what comes beyond it.
yeah, and Matthias wants to know, do we think we'll get any Digimon dubbed in the future? Yes.
We'll just
Just
We
leave it at
depends
that.
on when.
We'll just say yes and then stop and
yeah.
not elaborate.
I'll
Yeah, I'm
elaborate.
tired. I have a work shift in 2 hours.
I will elaborate minimally, and the answer is we've seen how much money they made from Adventure.
At the very least, you can see the new movie getting a
Yes.
dub.
Yeah. Uh,
And with that, like that sort of that, like okay, that answers the question
yeah.
to my satisfaction. So I want to move
Yeah.
on
And
because
that
I don't want to try to speculate
yeah. No, no,
on the
absolutely.
reboot.
And that guy wants to know any expectation or wild guessing we'd like to make about what we want to see in Ghost Game. Character
No,
stuff. Character stuff.
I just want to yeah. Let's actually have some characters this time. That sounds like fun. I miss that.
Yeah, I
But
want violence.
um and then the last one that was sent in ahead of time, someone wanted to know what kind of legacy do you think the new adventure will have? And that's the weird thing is we don't know. We won't know for 5, 10 years.
I think
Its
my
legacy will
guess
that it
is
made money.
well, it's a
I
question of
mean,
how much will it last with fans, and I think specific moments will like fans will remember certain moments, certain
but
fights, certain
that's kind
episodes.
of
That can
true
be
of
said about
everything though.
everything, really.
Because
It
like
it
here's the thing. I actually do agree with you, but it's like how much of Tamers doesn't really get talked about and kind of doesn't exist in people's minds.
Yeah, but
There's a
people
lot.
generally remember Tamers as being a very good series. I'm not sure everyone's gonna remember this
So
series in 5 years as being particularly great, but they will have certain things about it that they find enjoyable.
so
It's
I
I think
actually
it'll
thought,
kind of have the same legacy of Cross Wars in that regard.
but I'd say Cross Wars people are more positive about now than they were at the time.
They
It feels like.
yeah, they are. I think people will
Um,
be
my
less fond
my
of this one than Cross Wars
my
overall,
answer
but
actually changed a bit from talking to Shin Saturday Night when because she follows a lot of Japanese social media stuff more so than me. She said everyone was being very positive and nostalgic about the show, and like lots of younger people talking about it than what we tend to see looking for Digimon stuff.
yeah, but we'll see how
Well,
that
that's what I
sticks.
mean. That's why I'm saying
That's
like I don't think we'll know for 5 or 10 years.
I'm that's the thing about not having, that real good foundation behind it is that does suggest, that makes me fear that in 10 years that people are just going to like enjoy it now and then kind of
Well,
forget about it until they recall like a
maybe,
specific
but there's also the
moment.
matter of what does legacy even mean in this case? Because we're getting a new show. We haven't had that in 20 years. That is part of the legacy, is that it's strong enough to continue.
I guess, but then again, it also hitches, Ghost Game's success to that. Because if Ghost Game,
See, I'm talking about the brand
if
though.
everyone drops Ghost Game after 4 episodes, then that's shot.
Then that's Ghost Game's fault.
It is, but that's then what Adventure accomplished to continue itself through Ghost Game.
Yeah. But
That's
then
gone.
but then we'll see what happened with Tamers, where people dropped Tamers and then they desperately tried to hang on with Frontier. So we'll get like a Frontier reboot after Ghost Game with them desperately trying to get people to come back.
Oh Jesus.
Ah, man. AR, what have you been up to the last week and the upcoming week?
So yeah, my website for now is Digimon. I mean, the website will stay up. Digimon.firstagent.net has a review of every episode, which is the last time I can say that.
For now.
Yeah, I
Because here's the
maybe
thing,
I'll
the return of Old Man Pulver in 5 years when he does all of Ghost Game in a row.
actually I was thinking about that maybe because the main issue right now is I can't having to write a review every Sunday is just too much for me. But it's very possible that I will once Ghost Game is over, I will go back and do it because System Restore tends to work better when it's a retrospective anyway.
Yeah.
Like doing it live, like it was a lot. Appmon's reviews are a lot cleaner, being able to do them
Yeah.
in post, having seen the whole series. So I may actually consider that. But for now, all my updates, my thoughts on the series will be on Twitter, First Agent ARP, and my Tumblr. I do have a couple Tumblr questions, which I know I'm going to get to this week. Also, you can find me on the next Poddigis episode when they talk about the finale. I recorded that episode Saturday night.
Huh. Fun.
It was. I got to do a show with May again, which was nice.
Good. Dev, what Wikibon article would you like people to read? I've been waiting. I've been like thinking of who you're gonna like pull out of your
I
hat. Like, AR.
Belf
I was doing.
sleep mode
I
because
Belf.
that's what I want to do
Yeah.
right now.
The entire AR. I was doing my best. I was doing my best to talk to you while you were giving your answer, but in my head, I'm just like, who the fuck is Dev gonna say for this one? Belfamon
That's a
sleep
good
mode.
answer. Belfamon
That's a
sleep
good sleep
mode.
mode.
Yeah, so I'm going to take a nap because then I have to get up and drive an hour to
Yeah.
another store to do inventory for 9 hours.
Oh,
So
it's only midnight in your time zone.
so we will catch you guys all next time with theoretically with Ghost Game. Technically, we don't know because they haven't announced a simulcast.
I'm hopeful.
Adventure they announced on Friday, as I recall. I'm
Yeah,
gonna go ahead and guess the
if we
same.
don't, I hope it's on a platform that I'm currently subscribed to.
So we will see.
Gonna
We
have to
will.
crib someone's Funimation password.
Thank you guys. Thanks everyone for showing up. We will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.